Okay, let's get this set up. So as you can see, no active private storage server found. New backup accounts cannot be created at the moment. Please add one below. So the first step is for you to add your own private storage server from Amazon Web Service. So all your backup files and all your customers' backup files will go to your own storage servers. So let's go right ahead and set this up. I'm going to go to Amazon Web Services here. As you can see, the domain is aws.amazon.com. If you don't already have an account with them, you can sign up from here. Otherwise, you can just go right ahead and log in. So I'm just going to go right ahead and log in. You can create your own account first if you don't have one, then log in. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with my new account here, and I'm going to sign in. Alright, so this is the front page. So I'm going to skip all the other details but go right ahead into the technical parts to set this up. So to go there, we need to go to AWS Management Console right here. Click there. So after you are logged in, go to EC2 here, Virtual Servers in the Cloud. So this is where everything is going to be set up. So please ignore everything else because Amazon has plenty of cloud services. We are going to just utilize this particular one. So next, under Images, go to AMIs here. Now here, we are going to launch a server which is already pre-configured by SiteAutoBackup. Now, you have to change the filter from Owned by Me to Public Images. Okay, so you can see all the public images. Second, please notice on the top right here, this is the region of the Amazon Web Services you are working on. So as you can see, we are on the Sydney or Australia, Asia, Pacific region. So if we launch a server from this region, the server will be located in Australia, in Sydney. So you can change your global location to South America, or Tokyo in Japan, Singapore, Ireland, North California, Oregon, or North Virginia. So for this particular example, let's launch 2 instances. Okay, so first one, I'm gonna do North California. Change the global location on the top right here. Then you can search the AMIs on this bar. Make sure you have public images on the left here. So search for SAB for SiteAutoBackup and hit enter. You have only one, and notice the account number here, 510014563040. That's ours. So if you see this and you see the whole thing matches, so that's a good thing, right? So let's go ahead and launch this one. Just hit the launch button here. Now you can use this micro instance if you're just backing up your own server and not generally like hundreds of servers. I'm talking about servers, not accounts, okay? So if you are backing up just a few servers, the micro instance should be sufficient enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the next button here, configure instance details. So on this part, just leave everything else as default unless you really have been using Amazon Web Services and you know what you're doing. Otherwise, all the standard default options should be good to get you started. But if you have any questions about any particular settings throughout this video, please do email support@siteautobackup.com and one of our engineers would be happy to explain stuff for you. So for this particular demo, we are going to leave everything unchanged as it would work just fine. Okay, so leave everything as it is, and next add storage. Now this is the important part because we are all about storage. So the main server itself, it's just 8 GB in size, but you can change this up to 1000 GB or 1 terabyte. All right, so let's change this. It depends how much space you want to provision to this server. It is a bit complicated to change it later. You can, but it takes some system administration's skills to do that. So it would be best for you to predefine here how much space you are going to assign to this particular storage server. So for this demo, I'm going to change this to 100 GB. All right, the cost is different for each region. North California price and Oregon price is different. I think the cheapest one is Oregon. Here is cheaper than North California. Other regions have its own pricing. Please feel free to look up the pricing of each region. So, but for this demo, we are not going to talk about pricing, just the technical aspects of setting the whole things up, okay? So, here I'm going to change to 100 GB and I'm going to hit the next button here, tag instance. So, this is just the name of your server. I'm going to make it North California Backup Storage. You can name it whatever you want. It's just for you. Next, configure security group. So this is important as well. The security group, you have to open the ports, okay, because we are using the ports for passive FTP. So select an existing security group. I'm gonna select this one, but I'll show you right after this what's on the security group, so we can get there right after this part. Okay, looking good. So review and launch, hit that button. Get some warnings here. It says improve your security because all ports are open right now. That's fine. Please leave that as it is. Your is not eligible for a free. That's okay. It's not a free service. So you will be charged on your credit card by the hour. Okay, they will charge you every month, but you will be billed by the hour. So that's it. We can go ahead and launch this instance. Okay, I'm gonna hit the launch instance button. Now this is required if you want to log in to your server directly and play in the server. I would not recommend doing that unless you are a skilled system administrator, but please go ahead and download your key to access your server directly from SSH. So you can create a new key pair here, right? Name it, and then you can download it. It'll go to your PC or Mac and save that key pair. You would need it to access the actual server, okay? So I'm just gonna choose an existing key pair as I already have one, this one. So I acknowledge I have downloaded and I'm gonna launch the instance. Alright, looking good. Your instance is now launching. It takes a couple of minutes or at least 5 minutes. So I'm gonna hit few instances, see it's pending. So it takes 5 minutes to launch the instance before you see it's running. All right, so before we go and see the details here, I want to go to the security groups and explain it a bit to you. It's very simple. Just make all ports open. Just click security groups under network and security here, and you always have your default one, right? So you have inbound and outbound. Just make it all ports open. So for example, you can delete all the rules you have now, right? So whoa, you have blank, right? Just add all traffic and add rule, and then the same thing with outbound. For example, if you delete this and you just add all traffic and then add rule and apply rule changes, and that should be good. Oh, I need to apply the rule changes for this one as well. So no star here, right? So everything is applied. It's all good. All ports are open. So now let's go back to the instances part. So as you can see, it's still initializing, right? So I'm gonna go ahead, click there. Public IP, we have the public IP, but we want to have an elastic IP. Why is that? Just in case you need to stop your instance or something happen and you start it up again, this IP changes. Every time you stop this instance and you start it again, the IP address changes every single time. So we do not want that. We want to have a static dedicated IP address, which is called elastic IP. So while it's still initializing, please set up elastic IP from here. Network security, elastic IPs, okay? So allocate new address here. Are you sure? Yes, please. So we got one. Just click there and associate the address with our server. Select an instance, this one, and allow reassociation. So if you reboot it or you stop it, then you start it again, it will reassociate to this IP address. I'm gonna hit that. So .38 in the end. If I go back to my instances, it should have .38 for the elastic IP now. I'm gonna click there. Oh, .92. Let's go back. Make sure we have .92. That's weird. Oh, this is the private IP address. My apology. So the actual public IP is this one, 54.193.11.92. So if we go back to the instance and it's running, looking good, right? So you have the IP address here. So just copy this IP. We just want to make sure everything is running, and launch the IP on your browser. Make sure the web server is running. Looking good. Amazon Linux AMI test page. So we are good to go, right? Now let's go back to our backup manager. Here, I'm gonna make sure my session is still on. I'm not logged out yet, because once you do all that, you can be logged out of the SiteAutoBackup session. So I'm gonna add North California storage. Put the IP here and hit submit. Okay. So it's trying to connect. I'm gonna explain you how it works. As this server is initializing, I have a cron job which is running every single minute. It's trying to whitelist the firewall on our end. So within 1 minute, this should connect to the server. So it's trying 15 seconds refresh. So after 4th attempt, the 5th attempt, it should be connected already. Otherwise, something is wrong. So as you can see, attempt number 3, we're gonna keep waiting, and by the time it's attempt number 4, it should be connected, or 5 maybe. I'm not gonna pause the video so you can see how long it will actually take and how it's gonna look. All right, there we go. There we go. So everything is connected now. It's granting the databases on our end, so the server can access our databases. Okay, so initialization has been completed. All new backup accounts will go to this private storage server. So we can now start creating accounts. You're good to go. We are having our own private storage server ready to accept signups. So for example, if you go to reseller and you manage user accounts here, right? And then you create a new user here, EC21 5 GB. So this this account is created in this instance, in this server. Alright, so whenever backup runs for this particular account, every file is going to be stored on this particular instance. So now, say you just run out of your 5 gigabyte, alright, and I'm gonna go back to my Amazon EC2 servers. So here, for example, we are running out of space and you want to add another server, right? And just stop this one from accepting signups. I'm gonna add another one. We can go ahead and do that. And now let's add some space to it, right? So let's add the second one. So for example, I'm gonna change to another one just for this particular demo. You don't have to keep switching global region unless you have your own objective to do that. But for this particular demo, I'm just gonna use my Oregon instance. So we are changing the region to Oregon and then change this to public image, then search SAB. We have one here, so I'm gonna launch one again. Micro should be fine. I'm gonna go next. Everything, leave it as it is. I'm gonna go next, add storage. Let's just do 30 gigabyte just for this demo. I'm gonna do next. This is Oregon. Alright, so next, configure security group. The same thing. I'm going to select existing group, which is the default one. As you can see, all traffic is open. Now review and launch, and everything looking good. I'm going to launch this. Let me see, 30 gigabyte. What's the storage part here? Just make sure we have 30 gigabyte. Right, it's 30 now, right? So I'm gonna launch this one and choose a existing key pair, so I don't have to create a new one, and launch the instance. Okay, so I'm gonna view my instance and it's still pending. Takes a few minutes. While we wait, let's set up the elastic IP for this particular one. So we already have one here, 148. So I'm gonna associate this one with this one, with the backup server, right? Allow reassociation and hit associate. So the address we have is 148. If I go to instances, it should have 148 now. Okay, please wait until everything is running, status check passed, then you can go ahead and add your server in the backup manager. Please don't add that yet unless you see this status check has been passed. Okay, so I'm gonna pause this and wait until it's passed. So if after 3 or 4 minutes you're still seeing this as initializing, just give it a try by copying the public IP here and opening it on your browser. If it's already accessible, as it is now, see, it's actually good to go. So as long as the web server is up and running, you can go and add this here. So I'm gonna add a second one, alright? So I'm gonna name it Oregon backup, just Oregon storage probably, and put my IP address here, my elastic public IP address, public IP, and hit submit. Okay, it's already up and running. That's pretty fast. There we go. So if I go back to EC2 Server Manager, as you can see, the newest added one is the one which will be active to accept signups, right? And not the previous one. Oh, let me see. Why is this still actually saying just 8 gigabyte instead of more than that? So as you can see, after a few minutes of launching these two instances, the actual correct disk space or disk storage of each server now is being displayed correctly. It's because the actual initial image of the server is just 8 gigabyte, so it takes time for the whole disk space to be updated and it's the file system to be expanded by itself. The larger you assign it, for example, you assign 500 gigabytes, maybe it takes 10 minutes to actually reflect the correct disk space on your backup manager here. So that's pretty much it. So now if you create a new user account from your WHMCS or from here, it will $5,000. This is wrong. Oregon. So it'll actually create user accounts in the active ones, the active server. As you can see, it's that one which we just created. It's being assigned to this Oregon storage server. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions at all, please do ask support@SiteAutoBackup.com, including Amazon Web Service related questions about pricings, reserved instances, and other things related to how can you put the cost as low as possible. We are glad to help and answer any of your questions. So thank you for using SiteAutoBackup. We wish you the best with your backup business and web hosting venture.